Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I am Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love finding high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. Yes, we do. All right, so listen, today I am literally going against every single thing I believe in with this video. Everything. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I fully believe that you shouldn't pay full price for any makeup, period. And that's because there are so many sales out there that there really is no reason to pay full price for a product that is either going to go on sale a couple of months later, or there'll be some random sporadic sale because of like a holiday, like Memorial Day, 4th of July, or whatever the case is. Or, you know, you could also get like coupons just for signing up for some of these products email lists, right? So there are so many different ways to save money when buying makeup that I don't believe you should ever pay full price for makeup. But I thought that I would come on here today and talk to you guys about, you know, the products that I have in my collection that if I had to, that's the premise. If I had to, I would be willing to pay full price for these products. And that's because I love them so much. I think they perform beautifully. And I would be willing to forego the little sale price, to forego the discount, and pay a full price if I absolutely had to. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. So the first product that I want to talk to you guys about that I would pay full price for is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Honestly, I feel like the Milk Hydro Grip Primer is a foolproof primer. Like, I have a couple of other primers in my collection, but I find that I have to pair them with very specific products in order for them to work. But in my opinion, the Milk Hydro Grip Primer is one of those primers that just tends to work with all foundations. Whether it's a matte foundation, whether it's a satin foundation, whether it's a more dewy foundation, it just kind of seems to work. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that this creates a kind of tacky base that all of foundations tend to stick to. But when it comes to like me trying new foundations, I will oftentimes go in with the Hydro Grip because I know that it will more likely than not work with this foundation, with this primer, than anything else. So the Milk Hydro Grip Primer is definitely one that I would be willing to spend my money on and pay full price. And this retails for $39, so up there, but not too crazy expensive. Next, I want to talk about foundations. And the two foundations that I would pay full price for are the Urban Decay Stay Naked as well as the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. Now, the Stay Naked is one that I discovered last year, and this is truly a beautiful foundation if you have oily skin. If you have oily skin and you need a matte foundation, this is it. It is extremely lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It blends in beautifully to the skin. I wear 70 Warm Yellow. And this is actually the foundation I'm wearing on my face right now. I've had this on since about 8 o'clock this morning. It is currently 10 to 6. So, and I did put a little bit of a powder to touch up my face to do this video, but I didn't blot at all throughout the day. So this is definitely a foundation that I find that if you have oily skin or if you prefer a matte foundation, it stays matte throughout the day and it wears comfortably and it's extremely lightweight on the skin. It does give you, I would say, a medium coverage look, but you could build it up to full coverage in my opinion, but I prefer a more medium coverage look anyway. So this is definitely one I would recommend, and this retails for $39, so I would be willing to spend the full $39 on this foundation. And then the second foundation, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. Now, this foundation, it is stunning. I don't know what when I first purchased this foundation, I really didn't have a ton of expectations. I saw one of my Instagram friends post that this was a beautiful foundation, and I trusted her. I trust her opinion. She loves makeup just as much as I do, and she was like in love with the finish of this foundation and the way of the foundation, so I thought I would try it out. So when I picked this up, I didn't really know what to expect, and this creates the most flawless base I've ever had in a foundation. It is also extremely lightweight. It is a little bit of a thicker consistency than some of my foundations. I would say it's definitely medium coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It is extremely lightweight. It blends into the skin. It, even though it does kind of like even out the skin tone and give you that flawless look, it's not an unnatural flawless look. It still looks extremely natural. And I've actually worn this foundation out, and I would say that it wears extremely, extremely well. Like, I didn't see a ton of transfer when I had like a mask on. I really enjoyed how this sat on my face and how it wore throughout the day and how it wore with like a mask on and off. So definitely one that I would be willing to repurchase. And Charlotte is technically luxury, so this retails for $44, but I would have no problems dropping $44 to replace this. Next, setting powders. Now, when I was looking through my collection, I realized I don't actually have a ton of setting powders. I have 2. Well, now 3, because I just purchased the new Dior, well, not new, but new to me, Dior face powder. And so I'm testing that out. So I can't say that that is something that I would repurchase at, you know, at full price. But before that, I had 2 powders in my collection, and one of them is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. Now, I think everybody knows this powder. I feel like this is a tried and true favorite. I think a lot of people compare their face powders to the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish because it is a great powder for setting the skin. It's extremely light and finely milled, so it doesn't add a ton of extra coverage, but it does kind of like set all of your like cream products, your foundation, your blush, whatever it is, into place, and basically just sets your face for the rest of the day. Now, I've purchased, I want to say this is like my 3rd one in this, so I've definitely bought this a couple of times, and I would, you know, probably end up repurchasing after this one is done. Now, this is a $36 product. I would be more than happy to replace this. I think a lot of people forget that before there was Fenty, before there were some of these other brands, MAC had always pretty much been a very inclusive brand, and MAC was one of the only places, if you were my skin tone or deeper, you could find products like powders and foundations that worked for you. Which is why I think this is a holy grail for a lot of people, especially people that are a darker complexion like mine. And, you know, it's a holy grail for a reason. It works. The formula has been the same. So definitely something that I would repurchase and consider repurchasing at full price because I know it works. Tried and true. Next, let's talk about blush. Now, blush is something that I honestly only pretty recently got very interested in. So I don't have a ton of blushes in my collection. And the ones that I have, I feel like I gravitate towards like a very small selection out of the ones that I have. So first and foremost, a blush that I would probably end up purchasing for full price is the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Blush. Now, I found this in TJ Maxx, so Lord alone knows what the actual full price of this is. I'll have to find it and put it down for you guys. But this is such a beautiful blush. And what I liked about this is that it's extremely buildable. Because I was kind of just getting into blush, I needed something that I could start light and build up. I didn't want something that was like wham in your face, right there, ready to go. Because I didn't really know how to apply blush, and I didn't know how I liked blush on my face. So this was the blush that I, you know, started off with. And it's still a blush that I use extremely frequently. It is a matte finish. It doesn't give you that shimmer, but it's really soft. It's really subtle. It's really beautiful on the skin. And definitely, like, the formula of this is top notch. And I would 100% purchase this for full price. Even though I found that TJ Maxx, I would pay full price for this formula. And this is in the shade Peachy Keen. Beautiful. If you have my complexion and you find that at TJ Maxx, go and get it. And of course, I had to, you know, I had to pull out Mama Pat's blush. I have been using Pat's blush, honestly, kind of non-stop since it released. When Pat said she was going to give us a blush to, like, end all blushes, she, you know, she came through. She delivered. And this one is specifically in the shade Paradise Venus, which is this, like, absolutely rich terracotta shade that if you have a deeper complexion, if you're my complexion or if you're a deeper and you like, you know, really pigmented blushes, I think this is it. This is definitely the blush for you. And there's just something about Pat's formula that is just, I don't know. I honestly don't even know how to describe it. It just looks so flawless on the skin. It's such a beautiful finish that this definitely has to be one of the blushes that I would be willing to repurchase full price. And to be quite honest, this blush is $38. So considering that Pat is a luxury brand, I don't think this is too expensive. So I would gladly pay $38 for that. Considering what some of her other products cost, I think that's actually pretty cost effective. So next I want to speak to you guys about bronzers. So I recently picked up a couple of new bronzers that I've been trying out all week. So I can't speak to the quality of them just yet and whether or not I would be willing to repurchase them at full price. But the one bronzer that I wanted to highlight is the Marc Jacobs bronzer. And this is in the shade Tantalize. No, I will say it before you all can say it. There needs to be more shades. This is the deepest shade in the brand. This is as dark as it goes. I know, it's such a shame. And well, I mean, consider if the brand closing down, I guess it doesn't matter now, right? Well, anyway. I actually found this bronzer at TJ Maxx. I paid, I want to say $16.99 for it, but the original price is $49. And this is a beautiful bronzer. And the reason why I love this bronzer is because it's not red. Now, this I feel like is very, it's more on the neutral side. And when I tried this on my skin, one, I was surprised that it even showed up. But then two, I was really, really impressed with the undertone of this bronzer. I think that it creates the perfect natural bronze look that I prefer. I don't like looking like I am forcing, like I've been on a beach when I know I've been inside for a full year. Just saying. But it does, I feel like it does give that more kind of like golden yellow, that more golden neutral type of bronze, and the red bronze that I feel like a lot of bronzers for deeper complexions look. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be able to ever find it again, but it is certainly one that I would be willing to pay full price for, especially considering how large it is. I feel like you get a lot of product in this bronzer for the price, so I think it's definitely worth it in that respect. So I'm gonna save eyeshadows for last. So next I want to tell you guys about the lip products that I would repurchase at full price. Now, full disclaimer, I actually don't like lipstick. I know, it's weird. I feel like everybody likes lipstick. I don't actually like lipstick. I prefer lip gloss. Like, I will rarely wear a lipstick. I'm wearing one right now, and that is actually the one I want to talk to you guys about. And I featured this one on my Instagram stories, I want to say like last week, and that is the MAC Luster lipstick in the shade Touch. This is my perfect lipstick. Literally my absolute perfect lipstick, and I have been on the hunt for this lipstick. I'm hoping I can find it at my CCO because the CCO carries MAC products. That way I can get it for like 40% off. But if I can't, I would 100% be willing to pay full price for this. This lipstick is my perfect lipstick. I could wear this on my lips without lip liner. I don't need to put anything on with this. I could literally just like add it to my lip and go. It is literally everything. I wear this like I would like a lip balm. So the MAC lipstick is definitely one that I would be willing to purchase full price, and I honestly probably will end up doing that if I'm not able to find it at my CCO or at like TJ Maxx. And the other product that I wanted to highlight is the NARS lip gloss in the shade No Regrets. And these two work hand in hand. This is actually the lip combination that I'm wearing right now. I have the lipstick on, and then I have the lip gloss on top of it. And just so you guys can see the two shades together, it is like the perfect combination, the absolute perfect match. Because I love how this lipstick wears on me so much, and I know that this is the perfect match for this lipstick, I would of course have to purchase the NARS lip gloss, because you can't have one without the other. It just won't work. So last and certainly not least, eyeshadow palettes. Now, I struggled to think of, you know, which eyeshadow palettes I would pay full price for. Now, there was one that immediately jumped to the front of my mind, but I did want to pull out a couple others. And you know, while I was looking through my collection, I love all of my eyeshadow palettes so much. I think each of them are special in their own way. So I struggled a little bit. But first and foremost, the eyeshadow palette that I knew that I would 100% pay full price for is the Pat McGrath Midnight Sun Mothership. Now, I have said this so many times on so many different forums. Pat McGrath is my favorite brand, and Midnight Sun is my favorite mothership. So I would 100% pay full price for this. Now, I honestly think that this is the mothership that I will purchase a backup from. Now, I don't believe in purchasing backups of eyeshadow palettes because when you have a collection that's as large as mine, or you love makeup as much as I do, truth be told, you probably have too much eyeshadow palettes anyway, and the likelihood of going through it is slim to none. But because I love this palette so much, this color story is everything. I use this palette so much that I don't want to end up in a situation where it might be discontinued and I don't have it and I might hit pan on it. So this is actually the eyeshadow palette that I would honestly probably purchase a backup of, and definitely the eyeshadow palette I would be willing to pay full price for, because every single shade in this palette I love. Every single shade has a purpose. Every single shade I could use and have used frequently. It's not like there's a single shade that I don't use enough or that I don't touch enough. I have used and touched and played with all of these shades, and I always like the looks that I come up with. And this palette, while it might seem a little bit simple, it is extremely inspiring to me. I love that I could get like really nice kind of like neutral looks from this side of the palette, and then I can spice up those looks by adding in her special shades here. I think that that is everything. So Midnight Sun is, of course, the mothership that I would be willing to pay full price for. And in all fairness, there are a couple other Pat palettes that I would, I would be willing to shell out some hard-earned cash on. But hey, thank God for sales, right? The next palette that I want to talk to you guys about is one that I, again, have spoken about ad nauseum, I think, and that is the Bobbi Brown in a Flash eyeshadow palette. Now, I purchased this at the cosmetics company store, and it's discontinued, so you can only find it at the cosmetics company store. But when this was at like retail price, it was $59, which is a little steep. It is a luxury eyeshadow palette, but I have never purchased an eyeshadow palette and been so immediately impressed with the quality of that palette. Now, I don't know if it's because I went in with extremely low expectations, but the Bobbi Brown formula is really special, and I don't think anybody talks about it. And maybe it's just this one palette, but the formula in here was so beautiful. And this is a cool tone palette, a color story that I don't typically go for because I don't think that cool tones look that good on me all the time, but this palette does. Go figure. Now, the blues in here are something special, and then these like more nude, cool tone nude looks are also extremely stunning on the eyes. And I think that even though this they are high shine and like really high sparkle, the shimmer shades here, I think it's still very sophisticated. So I really love this palette, and this has become one of my go-tos for work. So definitely one that I would be willing to pay the full $59 price tag for. And lastly, Miss Jackie Aina and Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, when it comes to the ABH formula, I think it's okay. And I have a number of the ABH eyeshadow palettes, and I think they perform really well. I think that they're really good quality for high-end shadows. But there's something about the Jackie Aina palette that feels different. And I honestly think that they tweaked the formula a little bit for this palette. The pigments just feel richer. The shimmers just feel a little bit shinier. It's just like there's a little bit extra oomph that went into this eyeshadow palette. And I appreciate it. And what I love about this palette is that it was created almost exclusively for people that look like me. Like, do you see what I mean? There's not a single shade here in this eyeshadow palette that is ashy. Now, I will oftentimes find an eyeshadow palette and they will have like a row of like really light shades that would be considered transition shades for someone that's a lighter complexion than I am. And those shades are often just wasted on me, or, you know, people that are deeper than I am. Every single shade here was created with a darker complected person in mind. And I truly appreciate that. I appreciate that the transition shade here is truly a transition shade for somebody like me. And like I said, I feel like there was just a little extra oomph put into developing this eyeshadow palette, and the formula was just upped a little bit. So I think that the quality on this palette is definitely better than the other ABH palettes. And given that it is a higher quality, I would be willing to pay the full price tag for this. Now, ABH palettes are typically like $45, so they're in that high-end range, not technically luxury, but it's still pricey. But considering that the quality of this is better than her typical formula, I'm not mad. Not mad at all. Alright guys, so that's it. Those were all of the products that I would be willing to pay full price for. Now, am I going to pay full price for them? Honestly, probably no. Like, come on, there's a sale every week. So fingers crossed I will never ever have to pay full price for any of these products, because there are so many sales and so many different opportunities to purchase them at a discounted price. Now I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments below, what are the products that you would be willing to repurchase at full price? So if you guys like this video, I hope you guys will consider subscribing. I hope you like, I hope you share. Again, please comment down below and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.